Welcome to the SEC on ESPN. It is all about doubleheaders in the SEC this fall. Night 2 for number 4 Florida and Auburn. The Gators got the sweep yesterday. Courtney Lyle alongside 3-time All-SEC setter Missy Whittemore. And finally, we got the chance to see the Georgia transfer who is now a Florida Gator, Tiara Caesar. In her debut last night, she did not disappoint.
Yeah, exactly. Her first night as a Gator, and boy, did she shine in orange and blue. There's one of her match-high 11 kills. She also led the Gators with 3 solo stuff blocks. And don't lose sight of her when she rotates to the back row, because a little give-and-go action here, she was just as effective for Florida out of the backcourt.
Yeah, 11 kills, 5 blocks, a career high for her. So, Missy, what's next for this number 4 team in the nation?
Well, you know, Darielle King and Lauren Dooley combined for only 9 attempts on the evening and converted only 3 of those into kills. I think after a pin-heavy first night, I'm really interested to see if there's an emphasis on establishing the middle attack. Playing Auburn for the 2nd consecutive evening, will they give the Tigers a little different look?
Auburn was swept last night, but we saw some great back row play, and they returned their top 3 dig leaders from last year.
I think their solid first contact gave them lots of opportunities for second and even third swings. But the next step for Auburn is generating more kills. And the question is, how do they do that? Val Green led this team last night with some aggressive swings, 8 kills on the evening, several of those swings coming out of the backcourt as they try to avoid that big Florida block. But I think the bright spot in the offense was their senior middle blocker, Chesney McClellan, who had 6 kills on the evening, got better and better as the match went on and hit a respectable 286. So tonight they continue that search for more consistent offensive production.
Things look a little different this fall. There's a maximum of 923 fans allowed inside Auburn Arena tonight. We will not switch sides during the match, and everyone in the bench areas is required to wear a mask. All of this to make sure that we can play volleyball this fall. So a different format. That challenge this year for the SEC is having to play, as you said, Missy, the same opponent within a 24-hour period. That is really tough, especially if you're Auburn and you just got swept by Florida.
Yeah, you know, Mary Wise said, we know a lot more about ourselves tonight than we did last night, but now we see how quickly can we make adjustments in just 24 hours. And Coach Crouch of Auburn said, you know, it's going to be mentally draining, all the high that's going to come with that first night out, and then you got to turn around and do it again the very next night.
Bella Rosenthal will start to serve for round number 2 between the Florida Gators and the Auburn Tigers. There's Holly Carlton on the right pin, the transfer from North Carolina.
Holly, as always, was so efficient last night. Not a single error, 3 kills, hit 333, but Florida's got to be glad to see her finding the floor early here in this match with that really sharp angle shot.
Paula Sarame, the libero this year for the Florida Gators, so far in the first 2 matches. Chesney McClellan will take the swing, and she was the one that got things done the most efficient last night for Auburn.
Yeah, and as we said in the open, I think she was a real bright spot. She seemed to get better and better as the match went on. She was getting more confident off one foot, and interestingly, that's the first ball they give her here tonight, that slide.
Started her college career at Nebraska and then played the last 3 seasons at Auburn.
A missed serve already for Auburn as they had only 1 ace last night to 10 errors. We know they're going to serve aggressively, but can they get a little better ratio tonight from the service line?
That pass really tight to the net. Lauren Dooley kind of gets caught up. It's going to be a point for the Auburn Tigers.
A nice fight there at the net by Auburn to win that one against the middle blocker, number 99, Lauren Dooley, their 6'6" junior.
I really am expecting Auburn to come out with some energy tonight. Brent Crouch is so high on this group and how they have bought into what he wants to do and where he wants to take this Auburn program. So I expect to see a fight from them.
Absolutely. Picked to finish 13th in the league. And you know what? They have absolutely nothing to lose. And that's kind of a fun place to play from, Courtney, when you can just go out there, let it all hang out. And not only can you do that, your coach is actually encouraging you to. He wants them to play loose.
Yeah, Brent Crouch in his first season at Auburn after 2 years as the head coach at USC. Before that, he turned around a Portland program that was 0-27 when he took over, so he knows how to rebuild, and that's a great sign for Auburn.
Number 3, Tiara Caesar to serve.
This is Tiara Caesar, the Georgia transfer, just her second match as a Florida Gator.
Service error, point, Auburn.
She is just somebody that can impact a program, and Mary Wise told us last year she made the Florida Gators better last year sitting out as a transfer because they were having to play against her in practice.
She's playing well in every phase of the game, Courtney. That was just a just miss from the service line, but she was one of their 2 aces last night for Florida. So she's getting it done all over the court. Another miss for Auburn, unfortunately.
Lauren Dooley will step back to serve for the Gators. Douglas sends it up, and Shipes just has to set it over the net. Great up from Ellie McKissick. Val Green with the off-balance swing. Well set Green on the back row. Thayer Hall trying to end it. What a hustle, what a rally to start off.
Do not celebrate too soon against these Auburn Tigers because it might not hit the floor. I love the effort we're getting from this Auburn defensive core, and it's really no surprise. Coach Crouch was really big on them as we talked to him prior to match 1, and he said that this is a great defensive core, and we're getting to take a look at that.
Yeah, we saw that really show yesterday in the first meeting between these two teams. Auburn's passing was actually really good. They just struggled a little bit at the setting position. Marissa Hines is there starting for them because the setter that will probably start is Jackie Barrett. She's out with an injury. Dooley continuing on the serve. And gets a point for Florida, grazing the tape.
Dooley looking really strong from the service line, Courtney. They used a sub last night for this serve. They did not have middle blockers serve, but Lauren Dooley getting the nod, and I really like the pace she's getting on the ball. Hits it at a high contact point. You can see, oh, of course, when I say that.
Yep.
Announcers jinx. But I really like those serves she put together.
That says a lot, too, that they left her in to serve because Florida is a deep team. They have so many talented players. They could easily sub somebody in. So that says something about how Mary Wise feels about Dooley's serve. There's going to be a point for Auburn. Mary Wise is in her 30th season, 29 straight 25-win seasons. She has 959 career wins. Just built a dynasty at this Florida Gator program and set a standard, especially in the SEC.
Courtney, we talked about establishing the middle as we opened this match. That was 2 perfect passes in a row from Tiara Caesar. Beautiful passes. The first time they do try to set the middle, Darielle King is blocked. So guess what? Here's another way to establish the middle. Let your front row setter throw one over out of the middle of the court. Well played by Marley Monserrat.
Just adding another weapon to the Florida Gator arsenal. Remember, we're playing to 25 through the first 4 sets. You have to win by 2. Tatum Shipes out of the back row. It'll be a bump set over to Thayer Hall, who is blocked. Jaden Brown is there in the middle for Auburn.
This is a great job by Jaden Brown because Florida is obviously out of system. So the blockers have all kinds of time to get there, and a really nice block set by their freshman Audrey Douglas out there at the right pin. All Jaden Brown has to do is find her, close alongside, and that's really nice timing by Auburn to take advantage of Florida being in an out-of-system situation.
Big punch from Thayer Hall.
And absolutely perfect timing. There were a few times last night where it looked like the timing between Marley Monserrat and Thayer Hall wasn't quite there. Like they were trying to run a little faster attack from the left pin, and I thought Thayer was early or the set was late. But that time, there was a great connection. And you see how fast the ball gets to the floor off Thayer's hand when they speed that offense up and get a good connection.
Well, that's part of the hype that surrounds Thayer Hall. She came in as the #1 player in the nation out of high school to Florida. Dealt with some injuries throughout her career, but she's been a 2-time All-American. Hines will go in the middle to Chesney McClellan.
And why not? Picking up right where she left off last night. And I tell you, the connection that she's creating here with her setter, giving her setter confidence to feel like she can set the middle. And I really like the tempo of that ball because it's a fast set to the middle, but it's not so fast that you're going to miss. There's just a little air under that. So less opportunity for error.
Man, you've got Thayer Hall with a big arm, and then you follow that up with Tiara Caesar. My goodness.
The arm speed from Tiara Caesar is just a thing of beauty, how quick her arm comes through.
Hines will go to behind her, trying to connect with McClellan off of 1 foot. Monserrat to the outside. And it touches the antenna as it goes over. Point for Florida.
But what a dig at a right back by Bella Rosenthal. That was just a rocket from Tiara Caesar straight down the line, and Bella Rosenthal just handles it. Again, these defensive players for Auburn are going to give you all you can handle. This is an Auburn defensive core that is going to make you earn points.
Good pass to Hines, and she's able to connect with Chesney McClellan.
Make it 3 kills for Chesney McClellan already here in the first set. Chesney impressing me with her ability to go in front and behind.
It helps Marissa Hines looks a little more comfortable tonight, too, on night #2 against the Gators.
Absolutely.
Free ball coming to Florida. Monserrat will dish it up to Caesar, who goes with the roll shot. Good changeup.
Yeah, and remember just moments ago, she ripped one down the line, and I said how Bella Rosenthal had handled that ball so nicely. So when you hit one hard down the line, you've got your defender back on her heels. Come back with that shot, and wow, talk about frustrating the defense.
I mean, we're already seeing a glimpse of what Mary Wise has in her gym. I can't imagine what it's like to decide who's going to be in your lineup.
Right. And I tell you, she's spoken about the fact that these players really push one another and make each other better, Courtney.
Florida looks pretty good. They are up 5. Auburn here in the opening set, 15-8. Courtney Lyle, Missy Whittemore with you. This is the second meeting between these two teams. The SEC is playing double headers this year, so they played last night. It was Florida getting the sweep. We've already seen some good things out of Auburn, some adjustments that they've made as Lauren Dooley runs off of 1 foot.
And Courtney, we talked about it coming into the match. Would they make an effort to establish the middle? And I do think when it's been a perfect pass, that is the choice that Marley Monserrat has made. I'm excited to see Lauren Dooley. Several of her teams talked about how improved she is. Thayer Hall even said it just gives me goosebumps to talk about it, how much Lauren had improved even from a year ago.
Yeah, and last year was kind of a breakout season for her. She had her biggest numbers of her career, made 31 appearances for the Gators. Good to see her following that up this year.
Yeah, I mean, she was so good last year. To hear her teammates talk about her improvement says a lot because she was no slouch a year ago, that's for sure.
Florida is trying to replace a hole, a big hole left by Rachel Kramer in the middle. Shipes couldn't do anything but tip, but it goes out of bounds off of Florida. Point for Auburn. And Rachel Kramer was just so impressive, a dominant force in the middle, and they've got 3 players they think can help fill that void. It's not going to be one person.
And Darielle King has been competing hard in the gym as a redshirt senior now, but played in fewer than 50 matches in her career. So not a lot of career starts between these middles quite yet.
Tiara Caesar, I would not want to have to try to dig her.
Absolutely not. I don't want to be on the receiving end of this one. And again, she receives first contact and then takes a rip at the ball. She's one of those players who really doesn't throw her off to have to play first ball, whether it be defensively or in serve receive. If anything, I think it almost creates a rhythm for her.
Good up from Ellie McKissick, the freshman DS, who has been outstanding over the last 2 nights. Backside looking for Jaden Brown, but struggling with the connection.
Between Caesar and Hall, more good left side blocking for the Gators. And I'll tell you what, I'm an Ellie McKissick fan already, Courtney.
Yeah, absolutely. McKissick out of Windermere, Florida. Just been impressive, number 23 in white. So we mentioned the different schedule for the SEC this year. We're just really glad they're getting to play. We're only a week into the season, and it's going to be limited in the fall, but the good news is we will get to see these teams play in the spring. So in the fall, they're going to play 8 matches against 4 different teams, so playing back-to-back days. And in the spring, they will at least have 12 matches, and all of that is gearing up so that they can get ready for the NCAA tournament, which will be in the spring.
Yeah, you know, and Mary Wise says this is going to be a really long season from October to March. And she said teams could look very different from the beginning to the end. I think you say that on any typical year, but when you look at the time frame that this particular season will span, that is perhaps more true than any other year. They won't conclude this season until late spring, and there'll be a lot of time for players to develop and grow, and especially young players in the gym. How far will they come in that time? Will you see different people contributing come the spring portion of the schedule, Courtney?
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to watch. I'm just glad we have volleyball in the spring too. I'm excited about that. The fall schedules are really interesting, Missy, because they tried to limit travel for all these teams. So you look at Auburn's schedule for this fall, and it is tough. Not only do they open with Florida with a new head coach starting a new era in all Auburn volleyball, but they also have to play at Kentucky. So they're playing the co-SEC champs.
Not to mention the fact that South Carolina was a tournament team from a season ago. So that is a loaded front-end schedule.
The good news is you have these 8 matches to get ready for whatever happens in the spring. That's something that the Pac-12 and the Big Ten don't have. They are not playing this fall, but we will see them in the spring. So interesting to find out if this helps the other conferences like the Big 12 and the ACC get ready.
Another ace for Tiara Caesar after she had one last night. You know, Mary Wise says we have a template for trying to play our volleyball in December. That's something we've been doing. In fact, she's been doing it at Florida. This is her 30th season now. But she said there is no template for this year. This is new for everyone. She said we're kind of making it up as we go. And she said, you know, we may look back a year from now and wish we had done something different. But that's just part of the process, and we're all in it together.
I think that's how every coach feels. They don't know how to navigate 2020. Tatum Shipes is able to find the floor. Especially when you're taking over a new program like Brent Crouch is. He's trying to build and get to know this team. And remember, everybody had to go home in the summer. So it wasn't like he could get to know his team in the spring and in the summer. They did a lot of Zoom calls, but it's still not the same. From the back row is Val Green.
And another great dig for Auburn. We continue to complement their first contact, whether it be in serve receive or defensively. And that time it's Marissa Hines, their setter, so they don't lose anything on defense. If you try to hit first ball at their setter, Marissa Hines plays this one right up. And Auburn doing a great job in their out-of-system swings. They're being really aggressive out of the back row.
Oh, Tiara Caesar, super aggressive out of right back. Keeps it alive. It'll be a free ball coming to Auburn. Hines goes back to Audrey Douglas. Gets it on the second attempt.
Nice job by Douglas. McKissick is able to play that first ball, but plays it over the net. She wanted that one back, you could tell, but she gives Audrey Douglas a second chance. Beautiful dig here, but plays it over the net. Gives Audrey Douglas a second chance, and Audrey swings deep for the corner.
They're teaching her to play on the right side. She's been a middle her whole career. We've seen her swing on both pins tonight. Hines in the middle to Jaden Brown.
And the up official calls the touch on the Florida block. So that is going to be another point for Auburn.
4 straight points for the Tigers. Good pass by Caesar, and she reaps the benefit.
I think we're going to get a challenge here. This one was pretty obviously in. Unfortunately, it was coming at the line judge pretty quickly, and I think the line judge turned their head, as I would as well if I had a Tiara Caesar ball coming straight at me.
Well, the up official actually overruled them and said it was in. So
we don't even need the challenge.
Yep.
Yeah, but more importantly, Courtney, I think another wrinkle in the Florida offense that Tiara Caesar isn't just swinging from the backcourt down the pipe, but they're using her at a right back. So something a little different tonight.
Ball tips over the block. And the serve will continue for Paige Hammonds, who has checked in for the Gators.
Great awareness on the part of Thayer Hall, because Auburn's asking their off blocker, in that case left front, to come all the way over and pick up tip, which allows their right back player to stay on the line and dig balls. So Thayer Hall wisely tips that one right over the block on the line. That's going to be a hard get for Audrey Douglas coming all the way from left front. So nice court awareness by Thayer to pick up on that hole.
Hammonds on the serve. Shipes off of that Florida block.
And Tatum Shipes, excuse me, Courtney, Tatum Shipes, who hit negative numbers last night, already has 3 kills today and hitting .333. So Auburn doing a good job ironing out some of those wrinkles in terms of the errors from last night.
Still a contributor, though, last night. She led the team with 11 digs in her 2nd season as a 6 rotation player. Florida just 2 points away from taking the opening set. Gators got the sweep last night over the Tigers. Here's Marley Montserrat. Brown tips it. Caesar's there. Out to Hall. Backside to Holly Carlton.
And Holly Carlton with a little something extra on the ball tonight. She was so efficient last night, but several times seemed to have trouble finding the floor, and that has not been the case tonight, as she has had the sharp angle and now just nails one in front of the defense.
Set point for Florida. Jaden Brown punches it hard. No touch by the Gators, and Florida will take the opening set over the Tigers. Gators get it done. 6 kills from Tiara Caesar in that opening frame. First set going to Florida.
Newsflash, Tiara Caesar is a Gator, and by the way, she's a pretty good one, folks. What a nice addition to this Gator offense. She has 6 kills already this evening without a single error on 8 attempts. She's hitting .750 and thumping the ball. But by the way, she's been really good from the service line and ace already this evening, and she leads Florida, Courtney, with 5 digs. Her ball control has really impressed me.
I mean, I knew coming in that Tiara Caesar, when she transferred from Georgia to Florida, you knew she was going to bring that point production. I don't know if I realized the all-around player that she is. I'm just so used to being amazed by her arm.
Right, absolutely. And, you know, think about the time off that she has had to train and to really focus on every area of her game. And, you know, for as hard as it is to sit out a season, I think the things you see from the bench and the things you learn about the game and the way you're able to see a match sitting over there, and you have to do it weekend after weekend, it's hard, but it definitely makes you a better player.
Set number 2 also going to 25 points. That's Holly Carlton, and finally that Auburn block has adjusted to the threat that is Carlton.
Chesney McClellan with a big celebration after that one, and why not? When you get your hands on the 6'7" Holly Carlton, that's quite an accomplishment. But Chesney McClellan doing a great job from side to side. She's so good laterally. She closes that block up pretty easy.
Caesar on the roll. Paula Sarame will bump set Thayer Hall. Here comes Caesar. Val Green is there. And Shipes didn't have much of a choice. That bump set was really wide.
couple of reset opportunities there for Florida, and they could really never quite get in system.
Service error for Paula Sarame. We're definitely seeing, though, from this Auburn team, the building blocks that Brent Crouch has to work with. That was something that drew him in to wanting to take this job at Auburn. He said, you know, I was honest. I asked about the team, what are the personalities like? And he said, I have been so thankful to have great people on this roster to work with who want to make Auburn better.
Absolutely. Good students, he said, good teammates. You know, he said there's so much buy-in from this group that, you know, they see areas of the game where they're improving. So how encouraging is that as a player to see yourself getting better? And he said with each improvement, there's even more motivation than to buy into the other changes that the staff is making.
Yeah, the biggest thing that they're looking for is they've got to get more swings. They need more kills than Auburn was able to get last year. That's been a focus for Coach Crouch and his staff. After 2 seasons as USC's head coach, a couple of NCAA tournament appearances with the Trojans.
Coach Crouch said that in these first 2 years, he said it is pretty exhausting, but he said it's about relentless teaching all the time. You know, that in these 2 years, their game prep will be less about scouting the opponent and more about preparing Auburn. What's the next step for us? What's the next step for us? Just relentless teaching. You know, it's the kind of teaching that I think some programs are looking to do in the spring. He's going to be doing that year-round for a couple years.
Marley Monserrat goes to Thayer Hall out of the back row, and it's long. So, Missy, do you think that this actually helps, having this year that doesn't count towards eligibility when you're building a program? You can just teach?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think that the fact that the season is long could be good for Auburn because, you know, as Mary Wise said, teams are going to look much different in October than they are in late spring. And so this is an Auburn team that's got more time in the gym with Coach Crouch to learn his system before the season ends.
Dooley is blocked. Florida's able to recover. Shipes hasn't had much room to work on the left side. Douglas. The up from McKissick. Wow!
That was beautiful.
And Shipes, it's a low set, hits it into the net. Ellie McKissick, her sister is Maddie.
Yeah, that was some great defensive play, and Ellie just covers a lot of court so smoothly. She's listed at only 5'7", but I feel like she has such great arm length and stretch and the ability to cover a whole lot of court.
Comes from a volleyball family, as I just accidentally called her Maddie because I've already had Georgia Tech once this year. Maddie, of course, a setter for the Yellow Jackets, is the reigning ACC setter of the year. Thayer Hall, too long on the swing.
Hall goes long, and I tell you, that could be part of the result of some pretty good Auburn blocking tonight. They've done a good job blocking Florida several times. Maybe not the stuff block for a point, but they have been on it, and that's something that Coach Crouch talked about, the fact that he didn't want to commit. Nice ace there by Shipes. He didn't necessarily want to commit block. He said that his style of volleyball is very unleashed, just go get it. He wants to give his blockers the ability to read the offense and then just go attack it. And he said we want to have 2-3 blockers up on everything. And these players are responding well to that aggressive style of blocking.
And Shipes' serve is going to result in another point as Florida can't handle it.
And I tell you, these back-to-back matches are so interesting, Courtney. We've talked about focus over the course of a match. Well, now coaches are having to talk about focus over the course of 2 matches. And so Florida has won 4 consecutive sets. Auburn not backing down. Here they come, and they're up 2 points here in this second set of match 2.
And Mary Wise just made a substitution. Number 7 in white has come in, Paige Hammonds, in the front row for Florida. Free ball to Auburn. In the middle goes Jaden Brown. It's wide.
And that Paige Hammond, 7 in white for Florida, an all-SEC performer from a year ago. We said last night, the deepest Florida team perhaps we have ever seen. Paige Hammond's a really good arm out on the left side, but also great ball control skills from Paige.
Yeah, and she came to the Florida program with those ball control skills. I think that was something that Mary Wise was a little surprised of, that she said she's one of the best freshman passers that we've had, and now here she is, a senior.
Absolutely. If you're a young player in the game of volleyball and you want to get on the floor quickly, be a good passer. Teams have to have it. And Mary Wise will tell you that is what got Paige Hammond on the floor early in her career, is how well she was passing the ball. But she has done a lot well for Florida over the course of the years. And there's a good swing from Paige Hammond right down the line. First look, and it's a kill. Nice work for Paige. But I'll tell you, there was time 2 years ago when Thayer Hall went down with an injury during the SEC season. Florida really needed point production, and they really put a huge load on Paige Hammond, and she came through beautifully.
Senior out of Louisville, Kentucky. Did not go to Assumption. I know that's surprising. She went to Sacred Heart. Assumption, the Libero factory. And there's a swing for Val Green.
This is a nice look for Val Green as she's in the court. She's not going to have much down the line there. The block comes with her. And she goes with a nice angle there right around the block.
In the middle, Darielle King.
And still certainly an outside heavy offensive situation for Florida, but a little more of the middles here tonight in that perfect pass situation, Courtney. And that's a good swing for Darielle King. Not trying to do too much with it, just swinging deep into the corners.
Yeah, Missy, they've already matched their total attempts from yesterday. Dooley and King have combined for 9 total attacks tonight. That was the same number as last night. Oh, Florida thought it was in. Yes, the up official's going to overturn that. It's an ace for Paige Hammonds.
And again, when that ball is coming right at you as a line judge, no matter how you try, it's hard not to flinch, which is, of course, is going to throw off your judgment. But I really like the fact that this up official is being really strong with his calls and not forcing these coaches to go to their challenge card.
Each team does get 3 challenges per match, but we haven't seen any used tonight. They will say there was not a touch on that. It's going to be a point for Auburn.
And we make it a challenge, absolutely. I think Mary Wise is going to go to her challenge card. They feel like there was a touch on the block there from that back row swing of Paige Hammonds.
So each team does get 3 challenges per match. Unless we go to a 5th set, you get an additional challenge. So this will be the first used by Florida. We're looking at that first bullet point right here, ball in, out, contacting a player, or net fault. So they can look for all of those in this play when they go back.
And I think the ball was obviously out. So the first question is, was there a touch on the blocker, or possibly was the blocker in the net? Sometimes when the blocker hits the net, you mistake that for a touch. I think here the question is going to be, did the blocker touch the ball?
It looks like it hit the tape.
Yeah, I actually think the reason the Florida players react to this the way they do is because it catches the net tape. That changes the spin of the ball, the trajectory of the ball. And that's what typically a ball looks like if it's coming off of blockers' hands. But this time I think the change in trajectory is the fact that it hits the top of the net. So I think this point's going to stay with Auburn.
Yeah, that to me, it looks like it grazes the top of that net tape.
One more look here from a little different angle. Sometimes the immediate reaction of the players will tell you a lot, but interestingly, Florida's immediate reaction was yes, and Auburn's immediate reaction was yes. They both really believed they won that point.
So the point will stay with Auburn. Florida will have 2 challenges remaining unless we go to a 5th set. Keeps us knotted at 10. Auburn has come out a little bit stronger in this set. We've also seen some mistakes out of Florida. What a pass from Sarame. Wow, and that sets up Tiara Caesar.
That is art, folks. This is beautiful. The perfect pass holds the middle blocker, and in fact, not only does it hold the middle blocker, but it draws the outside blocker, that's number 22, Lauren Durrell, thinking they're gonna set Darielle King. So that basically leaves no one home for Auburn. You better not have that situation against Tiara Caesar.
Yeah, she's gonna eat that up, and she certainly did. Caesar, again, no attacking errors until that.
And after the huge blocking mistake by Durrell, now a huge block set up by Durrell, and Chesney McClellan joins her. Coach has told us one of the things Chesney McClellan does so well is block balls, but I think that one's all Durrell. She was not happy after that last blocking mistake, and she makes up for it right there.
Missed most of last year with an injury, but Lauren Durrell back and working hard for Auburn. Holly Carlton on the right pen for the Gators.
And completely showing off her range. If you remember, her early first kill in the match was sharp angle. She buries one in the center of the court. That time she goes down the line off hands. She has a spray of shots. She can use the entire court.
Lauren Durrell has the hot hand right now for the Tigers.
Absolutely. Nice swing into a really big block from Florida, and she gets the best of them.
Unfortunately, she's going to rotate out. Tied up at 12. Florida dominated the opening set 25-14. This is Marissa Hines. Another great pass from Marley Monserrat, and she takes advantage.
Sarame places that one right on top of her setter. That gives her absolutely every option, including the setter dump. And only 2 hitters in the front row. One of them, Tiara Caesar, so you know she's getting all kinds of attention from the blockers. And the other, Lauren Dooley, going behind. That is a great shot from the end zone to show you what that looks like and how that leaves Marley Monserrat with a one-on-one blocker opportunity.
Wow, hey, how did Jaden Brown get that back over and in?
You know, Courtney, we talked about changes over the course of a long season. Coach has talked about what a great arm Jaden Brown has, and that perhaps in the future they could try her swinging from a pin if they think they could get her more balls on the outside, because by the nature of the game, your players swinging from the pins are going to get more looks. And so if Jaden Brown has that arm for Auburn, is that something we could see as their season evolves to give her some looks at the pin? If not in transition, at least in serve receive, to use her in that capacity.
Yeah, Coach Crouch is not afraid to move players around. Sophia Victoria has checked in to serve, the sister of Pilar Victoria, who played at Texas and then Arkansas. Three service errors for the Gators. Excuse me, 6 service errors. He's looking at aces. Florida is the first to 15, but a much closer set number 2 here in Auburn. Can the Tigers take control? We've been watching the middles for Florida. Look at their numbers for Dooley and King from last night compared to tonight. Those numbers are up, and that's something we thought Florida might go to more.
I'll tell you, last night they combined for only 3 kills together, the 2 of them on 9 attempts. Tonight, already 6 kills on 11 attempts, but the best news is that they're hitting 455 as a team out of the middle. I still think Marley Monterey being pretty conservative in terms of her setting choice. She is setting those middles on near perfect passes, but when you can hit at a 455 rate, those are good choices right now, and they don't necessarily need more offense from the middle. So this may be a team that's pretty conservative as to when they set their middle, that they're going to put them in good situations, particularly early here in the year.
Paige Hammonds, who has been inserted on the left side here in set number 2, gets the kill.
And that's a big reason why they can be so conservative as to when they set their middle, Courtney, because you have those kind of arms on the left side. We've seen it from Tiara Caesar. We've seen it from Thayer Hall. Here's the third player in this match who's showing off that arm on the left side, and that's Paige Hammonds.
Yeah, Florida is certainly a deep team, and the connection not there for the Auburn Tigers. Remember, they're expecting a freshman, Jackie Barrett. She would have been the starter at setter for Auburn, but she is out with an injury. So we do think that we'll get to see her at some point this fall. Coach Crouch is not sure when, but that will be exciting to see the freshman. Hammonds again gets it done.
Really nice push from Marley Monterey, who rather than hanging it up in the back court, is able to get the ball all the way out to the left side. And Paige Hammonds coming in off the bench and giving this Florida team some serious pickup. She got 3 kills on 4 attempts already, folks.
4 straight points for Florida out of that timeout. And it ends right there, thanks to Tatum Shipes.
And interestingly, when Auburn needs a little punch, they go back to the back row attack. Very successful swinging out of the backcourt last night. We said, you know, the set and the timing doesn't have to be quite as precise, and it allows them room to swing around that big Florida block.
Caesar handles it well. They get it outside to Hammonds. Bump set coming to Lauren Dorrell.
And Courtney, no setter on the floor right there for Auburn as they insert Dorrell into the front row. Those were bump sets coming out of the back row from Rosenthal. So using some defensive substitution here to give them a bigger block up at the net has paid off for Auburn, as we saw Dorrell really successful in her last trip across the front row. And because they're running some high outside sets here, they can hit those off of the bump set from Rosenthal. So Coach Crouch not afraid to try some new things to see if they can create points, whether it be defensively with Dorrell up at the net or swings from the outside.
This time Dorrell on the left side, and she's blocked.
And that ball set with her hands from Bella Rosenthal there out of serve receive.
Has won their last 35 matches. Pretty impressive. Florida Gators just 5 points away from taking set number 2. And it's a free ball coming to Florida. Holly Carlton. Tip in the middle from Darielle King. Still no setter on the floor for Auburn. They're using their DSs. How
okay,
about
Bella
that?
Rosenthal.
Yeah,
Okay,
Bella Rosenthal.
Really nice, quick-paced set to the outside. Tell you what, Coach Crouch, not afraid of being creative, and I think players can appreciate that. When you're willing to try something new, hey, we've lost 4 consecutive sets to Florida. Let's give them a different look. Why not?
Carlton tools the block. Holly Carlton has been much more aggressive tonight.
Yeah, and I think Holly has the ability to do whatever her coaches are asking from her. If they say, hey, Holly, we need you to be consistent tonight. We can't afford errors. We got to keep balls in play. And then if they come back and say, hey, Holly, we want swings from the right side. We want you to be aggressive, find the floor. She is such a complete player and able to follow a game plan. Just such a smart young lady.
And if they say, hey, Holly, we need you to be the setter, she also can do that because that's in her background.
And actually has been doing that in practice because the backup setter, their freshman, who will eventually take over for Marley Monserrat as she leaves the program here in another year, is Birdie Hendrickson, and she's been injured. So because of that, Holly Carlton has been setting the other side of the net for Florida. There's only so many hours in a day. That does impact her reps for all the things that she is asked to do for this team.
Lauren Dorrell has been a bright spot for Auburn here in set number 2 as she goes down the line.
We mentioned the fact that Auburn is looking for offense, and could Dorrell be one of those solutions? Courtney, 4 kills already on 7 attempts, hitting .429. Coach Crouch has got to like the looks of that.
Can't stop Carlton. Holly Carlton with 5 kills.
Doing a really nice job, as we're going to get to see this from the end zone, one of my favorite views, getting on top of the ball tonight. She is just hitting a little higher, a little harder.
Remember, she's 6'7" too, so she's got some height over there on the right pin.
That helps. One of the things I really like about Coach Crouch as we watch them taking a creative approach here in this second set is that he's willing to try those things, but he said to us, it's a culture of no shortcuts. And he said this team is embracing it. So while he's willing to be creative, he also understands that you don't turn a program around in a day. And he said this team is embracing the fact that there are no shortcuts to success.
When do you think the last time Bella Rosenthal was in the front row blocking was?
Right. You gotta wonder.
Listed at 5'5", she's a DS, played libero for Auburn, and here she is as the setter.
And this team hasn't missed a beat, and the look on their face has not changed. I love the fact that they're just rolling with it.
Set point for Florida. They get the set on an ace from Tiara Caesar. Florida up 2 sets. Florida team playing Kentucky eventually, but look at her first 2 games as a Florida Gator. Not bad numbers.
Absolutely not. 11 kills the first night with a very respectable 364, but tonight, 467. That's just incredible, folks.
Yeah, just 1 attacking error. And look at her dig numbers, too. 8 digs last night and 7 digs tonight.
And Florida, who has 4 aces on the evening so far to 6 errors, 2 of those aces coming from Tiara Caesar, and one of them was to win that second set.
So Auburn will have to win this set in order to extend the match. They were swept last night by the Florida Gators, trying to avoid a second sweep tonight. Oh, and that's going to be a point for Florida as they call Auburn in the net.
It's a good job by Marley Monserrat drawing Auburn into the net and putting herself in a position to make a play on that ball.
So we saw Auburn make the change in set number 2 of pulling Marissa Hines at setter. They're using Bella Rosenthal, number 6 in the orange jersey, to set. She's usually a DS or a libero, and here she is as the setter to start set 3.
And Lauren Dorrell finding her way into the lineup and giving Auburn a nice offensive pop.
She's leading the team with 5 kills as Val Green gets one from the back row.
Val Green still hitting negative numbers right now for Auburn. But, you know, Coach Crouch is going to live with that a little bit this year because he's asking these players to take aggressive swings. And he's putting a lot on their plate as he's asking them to take a lot of looks out of the back row.
Holly Carlton with her 6th kill, and now she goes back to serve.
Says a lot about how complete her game is, that with all she's asked to do, they still have her go to the service line for Florida because they have so many subs, as you said, Courtney, that they could put into the match. A serve sub here very easily, but that's how much they like the serve from Holly Carlton, that when she's asked to do so much in practice, set balls, dig balls, take swings, that's going to limit the amount of time she can go to the service line and really work on that part of her game, and it's still really elite.
Yeah, so timeout is called here by Auburn as Florida leads it here in set number 3. Florida out to an early lead, 4-1. looking for a second sweep. Courtney Lyle and Missy Whittemore with you. Overpass coming back to the Gators. Lauren Dooley tips over the block, and that was dug up by Ellie McKissick, who has taken over the libero duties for the Florida Gators here in set number 3.
There she is, the freshman wearing 23 there in blue. And if there's one thing that these two teams have in common, they've got defenders, Courtney. We knew that there would be competition in both of these gyms. We were fully expecting to see that libero jersey change hands over the course of the matches, if not from one night to the next. You know, Auburn has Peyton White, Bella Rosenthal, Katie Persons, all great defenders for Florida. Paula Sarame starts the match at libero. McKissick now wearing that libero jersey, and we've yet to see Riley Fisher play for them this weekend. Unfortunately, she's had to miss some practice with injury, but Florida very deep at the defensive specialist spot this year as well.
Yeah, Mary Wise told us that Ellie McKissick, her skill set just stood out at an early age, and she has continued to grow. That's the key, is that she wants to get better, and you can see that hunger and that fire when she plays, because she is tough back there. Overpass, Dooley's on it. Caesar out of the back row.
A little frustration there from Tiara. I would like to see Lauren Dooley take a swing at that first ball opportunity. She tries to block it back and really gives Auburn another chance. This is a great choice here by Marley Montre, running Caesar right down the middle, but into the net tape.
Free ball to Auburn. Auburn wants it called in, but they won't get the call.
It's a really smart swing by Val Green going for that deep corner. I do think it's just long, but she has impressed me with her mental game. The fact that she's just taken some really smart swings against really one of the biggest blocks she's going to see in the conference. So this is a tough opening weekend for Auburn when you're having to look at this big Florida block, and Val Green has taken some smart swings.
Another service error for Sophia Victoria. She's subbed in a couple times now to serve. Bump set from McKissick, out to the pin to Hammonds. And Hammonds is blocked. Chelsea McClellan is there.
They've got Rosenthal there at the right pin. I think it's Chesney McClellan who gets most of this one, but you love the fact that Rosenthal out there setting that right side block. The defensive specialist doing it all.
There it is from Paige Hammonds. Look, I love that when she's called on, she just jumps right in and contributes.
Well, I tell you, this is 2 consecutive nights of Florida players really making the most of their opportunity. And last night it was Haley Warner in the 3rd set who came in and just played lights out, went 5 for 5, hit 1,000. Tonight, it's Paige Hammonds they call on at the other antenna, and she's playing fantastic.
And how many overpasses have we seen in set number 3? Shipes, dug up by McKissick. Tip from Hammonds. Val Green out of the back row. Bump set to Carlton. Oh, and I think it caught Caesar off guard.
Yes. This is a great job by Auburn hanging in there. Look at Durrell, just gets a hand on that one. Another big dig by Durrell, and maybe a couple Gators in position to play that ball, but it gets on him in a hurry.
Into the middle they go, Darielle King. Back row to Val Green. No touch point for Florida.
And that last long rally, Courtney, really highlighted one of the roles of the libero. It's not just about digging balls, but did you see how many times McKissick had to step in those out-of-system situations and bump set balls to the outside pins? That has become a very important piece of the libero position.
That one does hit the ground. Point for Florida.
Darielle King does a great job reading the dump coming from Auburn, and it looks like we may have a challenge, as we thought it hit the floor, but Auburn did not think so.
So this is the first challenge that Brent Crouch has used. He will have 2 challenges remaining unless we go to
Of course, there's no way of knowing how that point would end, so they can't reward it to either team, and it becomes a replay situation.
Love the hustle from Auburn.
Absolutely.
Both teams with 2 challenges remaining unless we go to a 5th set. Overpass. Man, Rosenthal was trying to get there, all 5-5 of her.
I'll tell you, when I made notes for this one, Courtney, I noted that I thought perhaps we'd see Bella Rosenthal in the libero jersey. I did not note that perhaps we would see Bella Rosenthal blocking Darielle King. That one's not in my notes. I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, Auburn made this change at the end of the 2nd set. Bella Rosenthal, who we're used to seeing as a defensive specialist, is setting right now as they remove the starting setter, Marissa Hines.
Deep breath from Bella Rosenthal, and deservedly so. She's been asked to do a lot, and she has handled it with grace.
Darielle King commits in the middle.
Really nice swing, and again, for Florida, pretty conservative as to when they're choosing to set their middle, but because of that, the middles continue to hit for a really high percentage, and I think Florida's okay with that right now because of the power that they have at the pins.
Hey, that's a pretty good connection. Even though Florida gets the point, the timing was on to the middle.
Yes, it was, and maybe the best look we've seen of that Jaden Brown arm that Coach Crouch describes as a cannon. And I'm not so sure that that ball was out.
Too late now to take a look at it. That one was out, a service error, number 8 for Florida.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, Courtney, are really encouraging to see the timing connection between Rosenthal and Jaden Brown there. And obviously this is something that Rosenthal has spent some time doing in practice. And Bella Rosenthal with a beautiful defensive pickup there. By the way, you're setting, but we still need you to be a great defensive player out of the backcourt, and she is doing just that.
If she has an approach for an attack, I'm going to be really impressed. Just add that onto her resume.
I really hope she does.
If Florida wins this set, they win the match. It would be their second sweep in as many days over Auburn. Carlton. Auburn has to track it down. Hammonds gets it up. Out to the pen to Caesar. Caesar again, tooling the block. You can see it perfectly on that angle.
Yeah, that was a beautiful look at Caesar going in and just blasting one off the blocker's hands. Early in that rally, the Holly Carlton attempt was a back row attempt for Holly Carlton. I don't know if we've seen her take a swing from the backcourt yet, so another new look for Florida.
And then she's going to get an ace.
All the tools, Holly Carlton.
Started her career at North Carolina, where she was a setter and played right side.
She's such an interesting story. The reason she was setting at 6'7", you might think that's strange, is because she grew, I want to say, an entire foot during her high school years. So she had a late growth spurt in life and had already begun training as a setter, and then grows an entire foot, and all of a sudden here she is, a 6'7" setter.
Yeah, as a freshman, she started the season at 5'8". By the end of her freshman season, she was 6'2".
Wow. Try buying clothes for that kid.
Yeah, now she is 6'7".
It's an incredible story. Great communication amongst the Florida players tonight. I saw a meeting between the 4 pin players earlier in between sets. They really are doing a good job giving each other feedback and communicating amongst their position groups.
Tipped over the block from Paige Hammonds, and Hammonds has been inserted this match. We haven't seen Thayer Hall since then.
Yeah, Paige Hammonds does a really nice job of placing that tip shot right on the line, but she also doesn't put much air under it. She doesn't give the defense time to come in and make a play on that ball, so she doesn't leave them any meat on the bone. She goes for the kill there, and I like that, an aggressive tip shot.
Here she goes again. And that'll be a point for Auburn, thanks to Val Green.
Perhaps a little bit of a friendly roll from the net tape, but another smart swing by Green as she's going for that sharp angle that's left vacant there in the Florida defense.
You know, they're looking for players who can get them kills. Val Green is definitely one of those players. We've seen that over the last 2 nights. It'll be a bump set from Peyton White. Really tight to the net. Point for Florida.
We've talked about the ball control from Tiara Caesar. Realize that was Caesar coming all the way from middle back, coming flying in there to pick up that off-speed shot. She covers a whole lot of ground, folks.
A blocker's worst nightmare, Tiara Caesar.
Yeah.
Overpass, free opportunity here for Florida. McKissick will bump set Carlton, who is blocked. Chesney McClellan in the middle.
And, you know, we talked about Tiara Caesar covering a lot of ground. I think there was an opportunity there for Marley Montre to let Tiara Caesar make the first contact there. And then that would have opened up the offense for them. Rather, it's a bump set going out to Holly Carlton, and Auburn has time to get 2 blockers out there to camp out on her. So if you're Marley Montre and you hear Tiara Caesar coming, you got to let her make first contact so you can go run the offense. You want to have 3 options rather than 1.
Playing to 25, you have to win by 2. Service error for Auburn. This is a must-win set for the Tigers.
And they're pulling all the tricks out of the bag as they're trying to extend this match. We've seen Bella Rosenthal, their defensive specialist, move into the setting position. There she is on the slide to Jaden Brown. Not a perfect connection, but good enough as Jaden Brown makes something happen and drops a tip shot over the block. Going behind, off 1 foot. It's not quite there. Holly Carlton releases, but not all the way, and that's the open spot on the floor.
Tiara Caesar with a big chop at the ball. You got to give props not only to Bella Rosenthal for stepping up at setter, but to these hitters who are just adapting to this new person delivering the ball to them.
Absolutely. That's not easy to do mid-match.
That Florida block coming up big. The Gators just 5 points away from taking the match.
Thomason, who was a good piece of the offense for Auburn last year, and she's the one with that injured shoulder. She's also out for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a big piece to not have.
It's hard to have players injured this year when you already have players who have had to miss practice because of contact tracing, because of COVID. So you have players in and out of your gym. Coach told us prior to this first match with Florida that they had perhaps had 10 practices, Auburn had, where everyone was in the gym. Everyone that he was planning to use in the lineup was in the gym together. It's, you know, that's 2020 for you folks.
I think that's a common theme for every coach across every sport that I've talked to, is that consistency in practice is hard to get with the contact tracing. Tatum Shipes.
And that ends the scoring run there of Ellie McKissick. We talked obviously about digging balls being a huge part of the libero position. We talked about her secondary setting and then serving, such a huge part of that libero position. She went back there and strung together some nice points. Serve, receive, obviously the other tool that you need to be a great libero. Great pickup by Bella Rosenthal.
Tiara Caesar going after it, but the timing a little bit off, and that Auburn block will benefit.
Yeah, not a lot of room there for Caesar to work with.
Auburn looking for their first set win over Florida. They dropped all 3 last night in the first meeting. The Gators making it tough. Holly Carlton has been great.
And it was Paige Hammonds who just nails that pass, and it gives Marley Monterey, look at this, doesn't even have to move, gives her 3 perfect options. And when you got 3 perfect options coming from Florida, that's going to be a hard get for any blocking core.
Val Green, good up by McKissick. McKissick again saves the point, and Florida called in a back row attack called on Florida.
And there was McKissick with a block coverage play, Courtney. So we're seeing a little bit of everything from the freshman wearing the libero jersey right now for Florida.
Yeah, just watching her last night, you could tell that, man, that fire, we may see her in the libero jersey at some point for Florida.
Right.
Look at that. What an effort to get that ball up so they could set Caesar. Out of the back row comes Hammonds. And across the court goes Val Green.
Val Green pretty consistently using that angle shot and dropping it between left front and left back. And Florida defense not adjusting to that quite yet.
Good pass, Caesar tips. Tiara Caesar forces it through. Bella Rosenthal can't hang on.
Took 3 looks for Caesar. None of them really great connection. And so a smart shot there on the 3rd one to tip it up over the block deep down the line. She had to try something different because that block had her number just waiting on her out there. Out of system plays for Florida, and that is advantage to Auburn's blockers.
They're drying up a little moisture on the Auburn side of the court. Florida 2 points away from taking the match.
They're going to make TR Caesar think about this a little bit. Stand back there and hold the ball as they get things cleaned up.
Talk about icing the server.
Right.
Rosenthal calls on Shipes out of the back row. Auburn working hard at the net.
Florida forces Val Green to come over and pick up the off speed that only leaves the back row as an option for Auburn. And so not ideal in transition, and yet they're just finding ways to battle. I love the resiliency from these Tigers over the course of this match.
Caesar this time on the right in the back row. Free ball to the Tigers. McClellan knew the timing was off. They switch sides looking for the angle, but no, it's too wide for Val Green. Florida has match point.
And kills are not coming easy in this one, Courtney. Both sides digging a whole lot of balls.
Thayer Hall subs back in for Florida on match point to serve. Chesney McClellan keeps Auburn alive. Still match point for the Gators.
On the slide, how about the Tigers? Match point situation, and Bella Rosenthal does not flinch, but goes with the quick set behind Chesney McClellan, and it pays off. That's a gutsy one.
Second match point for Florida. Hammond's easy shot. Free ball coming to Florida. Big chance here. And Paige Hammonds will take advantage. Inserted later into the match, and Paige Hammond seals it. 2 straight sweeps for the Florida Gators in Auburn.
I tell you what, Courtney, last night we saw the interchangeable parts on the